Hello! Today on Nurture Store we're talking about sensory tubs and the value of sensory play. By the end of this video you'll know why sensory play is so important in childhood, what a sensory tub is and how to easily make one from things you already have on hand at home. You'll learn how you can use sensory tubs to help your children learn to read and write and develop their math and science skills. You'll even know how sensory tubs can help you cook dinner and drink a cup of coffee uninterrupted. That sounds good, right? Sensory tubs are a fantastic play activity for children and can be used in so many ways to support your children's well-being and learning. This video is for you if you're brand new to using sensory tubs and also if you've been using them for years. So enjoy watching the video, stick around to the end to find out where you can get some great freebies for your children's sensory tubs and the chance to get some individual ideas specifically for your kids. If you're new here, I'm Kathy, the founder of Nurture Store, which is a great resource for you if you're teaching children. You can think of Nurture Store as your teaching fairy godmother, as I give you ready-made lesson plans, activity ideas and lots of great resources to help you save time and help you teach better. We're all about learning through play and hands-on activities to raise happy, confident and skilled children. If this sounds like your way of teaching or something your children would enjoy, please subscribe to the channel so you'll see all the new resources I'll be sharing, including ideas for art, sensory play, forest school, homeschool and ready-made unit studies. Now let's get started with our sensory tub masterclass. In simple terms, a sensory tub is just a container, the tub, with a filling in it, such as water, sand, shredded paper or coloured rice. That's the sensory element. We put in a few added extras like spoons or bowls or toys and invite our children to come and play. That's the simple explanation, but really they're much more amazing than that because sensory tubs let children explore through their senses and learn about the world and develop skills. They encourage our children to use their imagination and develop their language as they narrate what they're playing. You can make sensory tubs that promote math skills and science exploration and create tubs to match the topics and themes you're learning about in your other lessons, like a transport themed tub or a tub about animals or a tub about outer space. Sensory tubs are easy to make and a great way to assess what your children are thinking about, what's on their mind and how their skills are developing. If you sit alongside your children as they're playing with the sensory tub, you can listen in and hear what they're talking about. You'll overhear them using new vocabulary, having conversations, counting things, talking about the ideas you've been covering in your other lessons, and also developing their social skills as they play alongside their friends or with their toys. Sensory tubs really are fantastic and I think every home and every classroom should be using them. So why are sensory tubs so good for children? Well, children are sensory creatures. They learn about the world and develop all their skills by what they see, feel, hear, smell and taste. If we want them to develop well and pick up all the early learning skills, we need to deliver their lessons in the way they're naturally designed to learn, and that's by using all their senses. We want them to grow up in an environment that has lots of interesting things to see, hear and touch, so they're learning every day. We call this their sensory diet. And just as we want to give our children a healthy food diet at meal times, we want to provide a rich, varied sensory diet for their play and learning too. We plan meals and carefully feed our kids healthy food with a balance of grains and proteins and a variety of fruit and veg. And it's the same for the activities we provide for them. We want them to have a good range of activities with lots of interesting colour, shapes, textures to explore, so their learning is a good balance too. Sensory tubs are a great way to provide a regular sensory meal. I'll show you in this video how you can easily serve a healthy portion of sensory play every day or week or month, with lots of added extras to spice things up and add plenty of sensory vitamins and minerals. Another reason sensory tubs are so valuable is that the tubs give our children a self-contained play experience where they can explore the look, feel, sound and smell of things. And because we've carefully chosen the things we're putting in the tub, we know everything in the tub is safe for our children to play with, so they can play more independently, more creatively, and in the way they choose. We can also match the tubs to what our children are currently interested in and to the topics we're teaching them about to give them the fun of hands-on learning. Happy kids learn better, and if we want our children to learn about letters or numbers or animals or whatever, it's best to let them learn the way they're naturally designed to, through their senses. This makes their education more effective and makes them develop skills better. Learning with sensory tubs gives our children the chance to develop a wider range of skills. If they only see numbers and letters on a screen, they might miss out on the opportunity to develop their fine motor skills. Fine motor skills means the movements we make using the small muscles in our hands, wrists, fingers and toes. They're skills children need to be able to hold a pencil to write with, to fasten buttons and to use tools. We're seeing more and more children with poor fine motor skills, which can be caused by lack of opportunity to practice the movements that support good hand and finger development. How a child spends their early years can have a big impact on their fine motor skills. And the best and easiest way to develop fine motor skills is by playing. So by using sensory tubs and other hands-on activities, you're helping your children to build strong and nimble fingers and hands, as well as learning other skills. So let's think about when you can use a sensory tub. They're such a versatile play resource, and you can use them on lots of occasions to fit in with your home and your teaching routine. Thinking about the sensory diet that we talked about, you might like to intentionally plan to provide a different sensory tub every week or month or season or teaching topic. Including a sensory tub on the calendar of your family activities and in your curriculum planning is like making a meal plan. You don't have to stick to it rigidly, but having a plan makes it more likely to happen. Think about your children and your activities and think about when a sensory tub will be really helpful. They make great arrival activities at the beginning of the school day or a play date or a party to welcome children who are arriving one at a time. They work well as a small group activity, so you can have some children enjoying the sensory tub while you're working one-to-one with other children. Having a sensory tub is very useful when you're homeschooling and if you've got older and younger children. You can have the sensory tub alongside you for your toddlers and preschoolers to enjoy while you are busy homeschooling your older children. Sensory tubs are a really effective way to introduce a new topic that you're going to be learning about. It acts as a hands-on discovery zone where your children can pick up and explore elements of your topic. For example, you might have a sensory tub with different dinosaur toys in to introduce the dinosaur topic that you're going to be learning about. Or you might have a tub with things that are all different circle sizes and square sizes to introduce a topic about shapes. You can use sensory tubs for consolidation too. As children are playing with the tub linked to your theme, they're going to be recapping all the things they've learnt about. They're going to be exploring the ideas you've introduced and using all the new vocabulary they've been learning. I find them very helpful for transition time. In a class or in a homeschool, early finishers can play with the sensory tub while the other children are finishing up their work. And they're great for coming home after school. Children can find that switch from having a structured day of school to the different pace of things at home quite difficult to navigate sometimes. And having a sensory tub set up and waiting for them when they get home provides a focus and a thing to head to, something that's fun and relaxing, but still with a little structure, which helps the transition from home energy go smoothly rather than heading into a meltdown. Sensory tubs are also a fun way to keep your children occupied while you're doing something different alongside them, which is how a sensory tub can help you make dinner or drink a cup of coffee before it goes cold. And they can even be a nice wind down activity before you start your nighttime routine before bed. They're so versatile. Okay, so how do you make one of these magical sensory tubs? You can have them be as simple or as extravagant as you like, and you can make them for free if you want, using things that you already have around the house. This is a tub I made around Valentine's Day, which we'll just use as an example so I can show you the steps of how to make one. So first you'll need a container. Remember, we're talking about giving our kids a good sensory diet, and while the tub is like the plate you're going to use to serve up the sensory meal. You want it to be big enough for your child or a few children to play in together, depending on how many kids you're making it for. And you want the sides to be high enough so that they'll hold the filling in, but still be shallow enough for your children to reach in easily. Some people like to use a tray with raised edges. A big cardboard box will do. And if you've already got a sand or water table, you can use that. Some people like to buy what's known as a tough tray and use that as their sensory tub. I like to use a plastic under the bed storage box that I got from IKEA years ago. It's just the right size and it comes with a lid so I can store the tray and the contents easily. Next, the filling. We'll think of the filling as the carbs and protein of the sensory diet. You can use anything you like as the filling as long as it's safe for your children to play with and potentially put in their mouths, and you're happy with its potential level to make a mess. You can decide whether you're happy to use food or not, whether you want things you can use more than once, and whether you only want to use things you can compost afterwards. Think about what things your children like to touch and what things they don't like to touch, to gently introduce new textures to broaden your children's experience. Knowing your children and your setting and your preferences, do your own risk assessment and choose your filling accordingly. Some things you might like to use include water, bubbles, cooked or uncooked rice, dry leaves, shredded paper, cooked or uncooked pasta, sand, water beads or tapioca beads, and veggie peels. Then the added extras. These are like the herbs and spices and the extra veggies. They add the flavour and the extra vitamins and minerals to our sensory diet. They're not always necessary in a sensory tub, but can spark ideas for new ways to play. Bowls, spoons and cookie cutters are always good ideas. And matching the added extras of the tub to the time of year, or the festivals you're celebrating, or the topics you're learning about, is a great way to let children explore the themes with their senses and practice with new vocabulary and ideas they're learning. Coming up, I'll share with you some great ideas for themed tubs, but first, let's address the question lots of people worry about: how to cope with the mess. The first thing to remember is that you can totally choose the contents of your sensory tub and where and when you play with it to suit you and your children. You decide based on your situation. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. You know your children best, so choose the things you're happy with and can be relaxed with. Think about where it will be best to set up your sensory tub. That could be outside, on a towel, on a hard floor, not a carpet, so you can easily sweep up afterwards, or even in the bathtub. Allow enough time to use the sensory tub. Don't set one up when you know you've got to rush out to an appointment in a few minutes. You want to have enough time to relax and play and allow time for cleanup afterwards. And while we're talking about cleaning up afterwards, it's a good idea to have your children help with this. I'm a big believer in having children be part of the family team or the classroom team and sharing responsibility for chores, so apply that here too. It's also a good idea to talk about and agree with your family or your class about any rules of how you're going to use the sensory tubs. In fact, for any activity you're doing at any time. The rules can be whatever makes for a happy playtime for everyone. That could be having a no throwing rule, agreeing that everyone helps clean up, and in a classroom, maybe having a limit on how many children can play in the tub at any one time. So now let's talk about all the different ways we can use sensory tubs to help our children learn about math, literacy, science, and other topics. You can see some of the tubs my children have enjoyed, and I'll add links in the description under this video to the articles on the Nurture Store website that will give you all the details for all of these tubs in case you'd like to make them too. One easy way to include sensory tubs throughout the year is to make a different sensory tub for each season. We've enjoyed a carrot sensory tub for spring, a sunshine themed tub in the summer, a tub full of leaves and twigs and squirrels in autumn, and an icy tub in winter. You could make sensory tubs to match the festivals you celebrate. Most festivals have certain colours associated with them, don't they? And you can use the scents of the season to add an extra sensory value to your tub. We made a red and white candy cane tub for Christmas using dyed rice that I'd scented with peppermint extract. We can also use sensory tubs to help our children build math and literacy skills. One simple way to do this is to add numbers and letters as some of the added extras in a tub. So if you have fridge magnets in the shape of letters or a set of wooden toys, you can pop them in the tub. You can also get free sets of letter and number printables from the Nurture Store website. I'll add a link to them in this video's description. We've got a variety of them you can choose from, including fish, dinosaurs, cars and trucks, flowers, leaves and stars. You can print them off, cut them out, and then add them to your sensory tubs. And what this does is create a number-rich and print-rich environment for your children, which means your children are regularly seeing numbers and letters around them. As they play, they're frequently seeing these numbers and letters, and they'll quite naturally become familiar with them, so they'll start to recognize them. They'll become used to their shapes, and then learning to write them and use them for spelling and in arithmetic, and all that will be much easier because they've already encountered them through playing with them in the sensory tubs. For literacy and communication skills, a very easy way to use sensory tubs is simply to chat about the tub with your children. Ask questions like, what's in the tub today? How does it feel? What can you see? You could write these questions and vocabulary words on cards and place them in the tub or alongside the tub so your children can begin to understand writing and start to read words. You can also theme sensory tubs around books that you're reading. A big tub full of oats with big, medium and small bowls and spoons is great for a Three Bears story. And you can find a free printable set of all the Goldilocks characters and vocabulary cards on the Nurture Store website. Print them out, pop them in the tub and invite your children to play. This is great for developing imagination and storytelling skills. I love using sensory tubs alongside science lessons too. You can link the contents of the tub to whatever you're learning about. We have a section on the Nurture Store website for sensory science activities, and on there, alongside the hands-on science experiments, you'll find ideas for sensory tubs with the science theme. That includes ideas for ones that explore ice melting and space and planets. I found a great way to ask children to consolidate and show what they're learning, especially with reluctant writers, is to ask them to make a sensory tub to match your theme. And you can see this tub that one child made to show their understanding of the frog life cycle. Sensory tubs are fantastic learning tools, and I think every classroom and every home should have one. So, how can you add one into the activities you've got planned for your children? What's the next topic or theme or festival you're learning about? What are your children really interested in at the moment? Or what sensory material have they never explored before that you could offer them in a sensory tub this week? I'd love to hear from you. Do leave a comment and let me know what sensory tub you're thinking that you might make for your children. And if you're not sure what things you could put in the tub that you've got in mind, leave a comment telling me the theme and I'll see if I can think of some ideas for you. Please do give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you'll get to see the other videos coming on this sensory playlist. Coming soon, we've got a Play-Doh masterclass plus ideas on how to put together a themed week of nature sensory play. So do leave a comment and tell me what sensory tub you're going to bless your kids with, and have a great week with your children.